I used to believe that saying yes made me a good man, the kind people could rely on without question. My name is Henry. I am 82 years old, and it took me most of my life to understand how that belief quietly took pieces of me I never got back. When I was younger, I thought being available was a kind of strength. If someone called, I answered. If someone needed help, I showed up. It didn't matter if I was tired, if I had plans, or if I simply needed a moment to myself. I told myself that this is what decent people do. You give, you support, you carry what others cannot. I remember the years when my children were still small, my job demanding more than I had to give, and my parents beginning to depend on me in ways I wasn't prepared for. Every direction I turned, someone needed something, and I said yes every single time. Not because I always wanted to, but because I didn't know how to say no without feeling like I was failing them. At first, people appreciated it. They called me dependable, generous, kind. Those words felt good, I won't lie. They filled something inside me that I didn't even realize was empty. But over time, something changed. The requests didn't stop, they grew. And the more I gave, the more it seemed expected. There were evenings I sat quietly in my living room long after everyone had gone to sleep, feeling a kind of exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix. Not just in my body, but somewhere deeper. I had spent so much of my time being present for others that I had slowly disappeared from my own life. I missed small things at first. A walk I wanted to take, a book I meant to read. Then I missed bigger things. Time with my wife where I was truly there, not distracted or drained. Moments with my children where I was physically present, but my mind was already moving to the next obligation. I told myself it was temporary, that one day things would slow down and I would finally have time for myself. But life doesn't return what you postpone. The moment that stayed with me happened on an ordinary afternoon. A neighbor had asked for help moving some furniture. I had already had a long day, my back was aching, and my wife had quietly mentioned earlier that she wanted us to spend the evening together. Nothing special, just time. I remember standing by the door, keys in my hand, feeling that familiar pressure to say yes again. And I did. When I came back, it was late. The house was quiet. My wife had fallen asleep on the couch, the television still glowing softly in the room. There was a cup of tea on the table that had gone cold. She had waited. That simple image stayed with me longer than any thank you I had ever received from helping someone else. That night, something shifted. Not loudly, not all at once, but enough for me to finally notice the cost of always being available. I realized that every yes I gave away without thought was often taken from something that mattered more. Learning to say no didn't come easily after that. It felt uncomfortable, almost wrong. The first few times I tried, I stumbled over my words. I made excuses instead of speaking plainly. I worried about disappointing people, about how they would see me, and some of them were disappointed. That was another lesson I had to face. When you stop always being available, people notice. Not everyone will understand. Some will question you, some will quietly step back. But what I discovered is that the ones who truly care about you don't measure your worth by how much you give up for them. They understand when you protect a part of yourself. Over time, I began to choose more carefully. I still helped, I still showed up, but not at the cost of everything else. I learned that rest is not selfish, that time alone is not wasted. That saying no is sometimes the only way to say yes to your own life. I started noticing things I had ignored for years. The way the afternoon light filled the room, the quiet comfort of sitting beside someone you love without needing to rush anywhere, the simple piece of a day that belongs to you. I won't pretend I got it perfect. Even now, I sometimes feel that old instinct pulling at me. The urge to agree, to please, to be everything for everyone. But now, I recognize it. And more importantly, I pause. At 82, you begin to understand that time is not something you can stretch or recover. It moves forward, whether you are present in it or not. And for a long time, I was living around my life instead of inside it. If there is one thing I would say to you, it is this. Being kind does not mean being constantly available. Being a good person does not require you to disappear for others to exist comfortably. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to choose yourself sometimes. Because one day you may find yourself sitting in a quiet room looking back and realizing how much of your life was spent answering calls that could have waited, while the moments that truly mattered slipped by unnoticed. And I would not wish that realization on anyone.